everybody, I have a new build for you today. This is actually something I built before the For Rent pack even came out, and then I worked on it a bit more once we got those items. It was kind of like a prep build that you probably saw a couple people doing. I just had a little bit too much going on at the time in December when the For Rent pack came out to actually edit this and release it at that time. Build is finally complete, edit is finally complete. Here's our speed build for some desert, very low end, not so nice apartments. I hope you like them. Let's check them out. So this building is inspired by this artwork that I found on Pinterest. It's by an artist named Kathleen, and I'll link it down in the description for you guys. So here I am. I start off, as always, just building random rectangles, and this build was kind of a difficult one to work with because it is like an odd shape and it has like very different levels that are all at different heights. So I couldn't do so much of that in The Sims, but it's definitely heavily inspired by that picture. It's not going to be 100% exactly like it. That's my disclaimer for every single time I do something that's based off a Pinterest build. I really liked the top roof that they had up there where it kind of has a curve to it. I thought that was really nice. You'll see as I go through this build, there's a lot that I had to change around because the more I played around with this, the more in depth it got. It just wasn't possible to have all of that work out. You'll also notice as I go through this, there's a lot of things that I planned that I wanted to replace with For Rent items, but the first part of this video is actually built before the For Rent pack came out. You'll see later on when the For Rent pack comes out that I actually do add some of the stuff from there. For example, like I'll add a mailbox in and such, but you can really see what I mean when I say I was struggling with kind of the layout of this house. And I really wasn't sure about what window to use here, what kind of doors I wanted. I kind of went into this not really knowing exactly how I wanted it to look because I knew it wasn't going to look exactly like the image, but when I found these doors, I was amazed, and I knew for certain I wanted to use those big, nice, open doors, and that's going to be a shared space when we get around to it. So I think it works well that that can be an open area. I'm actually going to make a patio out front of there, which I also really liked. I think it added a little bit of fun, made it more of like a community build, which is nice because it is an apartment complex kind of. And I think one of the things a lot of people were excited about with the new Sims 4 For Rent pack, which I hate that name by the way, why couldn't we just call it like something totally different? Rentals, apartments, anything? Besides the point, I think one of the things a lot of people were excited about for the For Rent pack was this new like community features we were getting, breaking in, shared spaces, things like that. So I was really excited to do a shared space in this build. It's not like anything crazy, like really cool. It's literally just like a shared laundry unit. I just made basically a laundromat in the shared space. There is the outside area, which is technically a shared space, which I had a little bit more fun with, which you'll see later that I got a little bit creative. I took some artistic liberties with some of the stuff, one specific thing in general without giving you any spoilers, but I do like how it turned out overall. Now with this color, I actually cut out a part where I was seeing if I wanted to make this white instead of this like yellowy kind of sand color, because this matches the ground exactly and I wasn't sure exactly how I felt. So I went with a white color for a little while, but it was just looking too much like it should be in Greece and not so much in the middle of a desert. I really wanted this to fit its surrounding. That's why I intentionally chose Oasis Springs to build this in. We also have this little bump out over here, which I was trying to copy this little area that they have in the artwork that I followed, and I just really wasn't sure how to do it, but I kind of figured out a better way using a larger window. And I do like that I went with like that buy mode roof and not doing an actual like build mode roof. I think it adds a little bit more to it. It makes it look a little more realistic, whereas building an actual roof on it just kind of looked out of place and odd. As for the stairs, I really liked this stair pattern. I don't think I've ever used this before. I feel like I want to do kind of like a Santorini inspired build now and use these stairs just because I think they're so, so beautiful. I'm really liking them. I think it'd be a lot of fun to use in more builds, though I don't typically use a lot of color in my builds. I feel like I tend to do strictly green and strictly dark colored builds. So I kind of had fun with this one. It brought a little bit more color in, and you can see I had a lot of fun with plants. I like putting a lot of plants in my builds, so this one was kind of fun to just kind of run wild with. You may notice there's all these like little bricks over here. So this part, as I said before, was before the For Rent pack came out. So I was so excited, you'll see later, that I kind of went through and replaced all these brick things with the actual wall decals that we got with the For Rent pack. I just think they added a lot of depth, a lot of character to the build. So I was really excited about them. And I think it looked a whole lot better than these individual shrunken down little tiny bricks that I placed here to try and make the build look a little more beaten up. This build also took me so long that you will actually not see the entire thing in the speed build. I had to cut part of it out just because it would have been almost over an hour, even sped up as much as I have this sped up. And my previous speed build, I did it like times 10 speed, and I felt like it was a little too fast. I don't know what you guys thought about it. Let me know if it was. So this one's only on like 5 times, maybe 6 times speed. And I think it's a little bit easier to follow and doesn't make you as dizzy, hopefully, as the last one did. Because when I rewatched my old one, I was like, oh, I was getting a little bit of a headache. This top apartment that you see right here is actually, weirdly, kind of my favorite one that I did here. Even though it's really not the nicest one, you'll actually see the bathroom is very sad on this one. It's not personally somewhere that I would like to live in particular, but it has like really big windows in the end, and it just looks very sunny and airy, and I kind of like that it's like just open to the world. That would scare me in real life because I would be like, oh my god, like something's gonna get in my room and kill me while I'm sleeping, like an animal or a spider, I don't know. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, fresh air. This apartment's getting a whole lot of it. Not much else, and besides the mold that's growing in there, it might be nice to always have the windows open like that. These vents are something that I placed as a space holder for when we get the for rent pack. We got those wall-mounted air conditioners, and I'll add those in later, but I wanted to kind of plan out where I would have those, which didn't actually work out because the functional ones have like a little area inside that takes up a bit of wall space. So they didn't exactly go where I placed those vents, but it was a good reminder for myself still that I wanted to have those there. You also might notice for part of this build that my railings are not working on the one set of stairs, and they are working somewhat okay on the other. You can see that right here, that they're missing on this side. That is actually a bug that was happening that they fixed in that December patch. At least I think they fixed it. I don't think they said they did, but it just kind of disappeared after that. So I'm going to make the safe assumption that that was part of that patch, which I'm very grateful for, because in the middle of this build, which is post-patch update, you'll see that this railing is fixed, and it definitely makes the build look a little more cohesive and less torn apart and odd. You may notice that here I put a little cat bowl on this little patio balcony area because even though it is not in the art and there's really no reason to do that, there is a cat sleeping on the roof of the artwork that was the inspiration for this, and I thought it was a really cute idea. How could I just get rid of the cat? We need to give the cat a home, you know, let's home this cat. So I put a little cat bowl, I put a little cat bed later on, and I actually made that apartment that the cat bed and bowl are outside of have the Cats Love It Here, I think it's called, lot trait. But anyway, I just wanted to pay homage to the artist that did it, and I thought that was kind of like a cute way was to include the little cat that they put up there. So here I'm going in with just some terrain paint to darken up and add a little more texture to everything, make it look a little more realistic. Every time I do a hose in a build, I like to put a little extra terrain paint there and make it a little darker. This way, for this build, it looks like the sand's kind of been washed away or it's just completely saturated, so it's darker. When I have a lot that has grass, like a suburban build or something, and I do a hose, instead, I do that kind of like dead grass kind of terrain paint. This way it looks like the grass has been totally overwatered under there to the point that it has just completely died. And this is where I'm getting started on that shared laundromat area that I was telling you about. I got really frustrated with this part of the build because actually when I was playtesting, it was not working at all. Like I could just not figure it out. You may have noticed a little jump there where we jumped to me just randomly decorating a different apartment and not the shared community. This is actually a funny story. It has nothing to do with what I told you before where I stopped building this and started working on it again after the for rent pack came out. This is actually me going, oh my god, I need a vending machine in this space. Let's stop and go buy Snowy Escape so I can get a vending machine. So I saved my game, closed it, bought a bundle. This way I could save a little money, gotta cut myself a little gift with it, you know? And when I started back up with building, I built for an entire hour before I realized I never started my recording back up. To be fair, I was flustered because EA charged me like 2 or 3 times for the bundle. So I was like panicking in a support chat with them, like, please give me back my money, please. I can't afford 3 Sims bundles. They did though. They were great. EA was fantastic. Thank you, EA support. But do not worry. You do not miss out on it, even though it's not in the speed build part, so you don't get to watch me building it. I do a little tour at the end where I'll show you all the apartments and everything, so you'll still get to see them. You may have noticed that the apartment we're working on right now is quite a bit bigger, dare I even say a little bit nicer than the other apartments in this building. That's because this is the ground floor, probably the landlord's apartment. So of course they're going to treat themselves a little bit better. Of course, you don't actually need to use it like that. You can play however you want to play. That's just kind of the story I made in my head while I was building this. You can see this column right here, and I really, really like this column. It's from the werewolves pack, I believe. However, I wish we got more things like this in the For Rent pack. We got a couple things that were like more run down, beaten up, old looking kind of things, but I really feel like this column really gives landlord special meme, where landlords just kind of paint white over anything that should not be painted white over, like outlets and light switches and this rotting wood column. I also kind of like the idea that this could be used as kind of like a fixer upper build. These are really run down, not so nice apartments that you could take and revamp them, maybe tear down some walls, redo some things, and make them into really nice things. If you guys actually do end up doing that, please let me know. Put in the gallery with hashtag Ajiri, and I will be 100% willing to check them out. I'd actually be really interested in that if you are. I end up using this like little like name tag, nameplate kind of thing above the door. You'll see that in a minute, and that's kind of what I envisioned as being like the apartment number that would be outside. You don't need to do that in the with the For Rent pack. I just thought it added a little bit of realism and a little more depth. I wish we got something that actually looked a little more like numbers. Obviously it wouldn't because it's in Simlish. Something that's just like a single character that we could use as like house numbers and stuff like that. I think that'd be something really interesting. There's definitely probably some CC and mods, so you guys can feel free to add those if you use this build. This apartment I actually struggled a lot with. I really wasn't sure of the layout, and you'll see that I kind of changed it around probably like 5 times before I figured out what I wanted to do. And I just knew it has to be run down. It has to be tiny. Originally, I was gonna make this floor all one big apartment, but then I was like, but we're gonna have one big apartment, one decent sized apartment on the ground floor, and then the one on the top floor is literally like a 5x6 rectangle. That's not very fair. It's the size of a bedroom, and they don't even have a bathroom sink up there. Looking back, I probably could have made this just like a 2 apartment build, one decent sized one on the ground floor, one decent sized one up here, and then made that top floor small area into like a community shared room again. But I don't know, because I had a lot of fun dealing with like the damaged and rundown looking swatches and other items that we have in The Sims that like I never really get to use often. So do I regret it being a rundown build? Do I regret not making these apartments a little bit bigger to make my life a little easier? Kind of, but I'm also kind of okay with it. So as I was saying earlier, I changed this build around a lot, and while I'm building this, putting this bed right here, I really started to hate it, which definitely contributed to me moving this into a completely different area. They had a really big bathroom that was almost half the size of this whole studio area, so I was like, why don't I just give them a little tiny bathroom, kind of like everyone else is gonna have here, especially that top floor apartment, and give them an okay sized bedroom so they don't have to sleep in their kitchen. So it doesn't have to be a studio. Obviously, 2 of these apartments are studios, but the other 2 have an actual closed off bedroom. So I think it's a good kind of even fairness that we've got going on between all these. Now, this apartment drove me absolutely crazy, even more than the last one did. I really didn't know what to do. I did not know how to really build a bathroom in here, so I cut out the part where I struggled with the layout for this one so much, and when I figured out how to do like this tiny of a bathroom that you see here with kind of like the angled wall that ends up actually being functional like this, which amazes me because Sims don't like walking anywhere, let alone in small spaces, so the fact that they will actually use all of the objects in this bathroom perfectly fine and not have any complaints. Can we please have them do that with like everything else? Half the time my Sims can't even use an oven. At this point in the build, I'm kind of realizing maybe this would be like good housing for like university students if you have Discover University. Obviously it's not in the world, but I guess you could place it over there, maybe repaint it if you don't like how the colors kind of will most likely clash with the world that university comes with. I was just thinking tiny little affordable apartments 99% of the time. These little dorm-sized apartments are going to be for students. I felt bad for the sim that's gonna live here, so I gave them this nice couch under here and a little desk area. In my mind, the stuff in this apartment is probably thrifted, and they just got really lucky at their local thrift, and they found like this nice mid-century modern couch and this nice little nifty desk. In the interest of this video not ending up being 45 minutes, I'm going to cut you off from the speed build and give you your tour. Here is the final build, guys. I really like how it turned out, and we got a little Sims ASMR in the background for you guys, little birds chirping and stuff. The bicycles you see on the left side of this build are not functional. However, there is a functional bike on the right side of the build. These ones are just purely for decoration. So let's hop into this little shared laundry area that I have here. I kind of have mixed feelings about this room. I use this board, which I think is from like Get to Work, maybe from the Criminal Career. I am not positive. If someone knows, please let me know. But I like that I have the vending machine, but I kind of just felt lost with this space. Part of me feels like it could have just been better. I made a little above ground pool, which I kind of have mixed feelings about as well. I don't know if it really fit here, but I didn't know what else to fill the space in, and we're in the middle of the desert. It stayed on brand though, so don't worry. It has like algae growing. I also gave them a little basketball court back here just so your Sims actually have something to do. And now we can head into Mirage 1A. I named these the Mirage apartment because I felt it was desert themed and I used a fantasy name generator because I couldn't think of anything. So I added this little pop of color with this rug, which might be controversial, but I feel like, again, it's something that would be in this kind of apartment. So this is our largest apartment in this building. I had to move around the table because it wouldn't fit. So now there is one stool just sitting at the counter. And then we've got our kind of icky, outdated, very not so nice bathroom. It's giving liminal space vibes. And then this is the bedroom, also the biggest bedroom that we do have in this build. And there's some mice in the corner for you, so that's a nice touch. And I'm gonna be honest with you, these people got kind of a nice view out of the apartment. Heading up these stairs on the right leads us to our next apartment. Possibly the most annoying apartment. I had to give them a little bit of that landlord special, getting that painting from Walmart that they use clearly just to cover up the fact that there is a hole in the wall. And this is what I was talking about before, where I changed the bathroom into the bedroom. It is a small space, but they do have a TV and a little closet, which is inaccessible, but it's there. It's the thought that counts. Now, when you look at this bathroom, you're gonna be like, where's the door? Where's the toilet? That is simply just because I am in the tab view, so it's messing things up. It is there, I promise. Seeing is not believing. I learned that from the Polar Express. And then this is the little patio balcony kind of area where we got that clothesline and the little area for the stray cats to hang out. I think it's so cute. Now heading up these stairs on the left side of the building to go up to our next second floor apartment. This is our studio that has the little bathroom with the mini fridge, desk, and the nice couch that we gave them out of pity. Being honest, your Sim has everything they need if they live here, so wow, that's terrible. That's such landlord speak. I can't believe I said that. Anyways, here's our little tiny itty bitty bathroom. It's not as small as the one on the top floor, but it's still kind of small. And here's a view of the entire apartment. Heading up to the next one. Really nice view from here, which is why this is kind of my favorite apartment, even though it might be the worst one. I think this one and the bunk bed one are very, very close to both being the worst. Let me know what one you guys think is worse. But you see what I mean? You see what I mean about the views? I didn't know Oasis Springs was this pretty. I guess I just didn't pay that much attention. And I like that they have a view of the dinosaur. It's kind of nice. That's the best part of the apartment, in my opinion, because this little tiny 2x1 bathroom is not it. And that's our apartments. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys like how it came out, please remember to leave a like, comment, and maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. You can catch me doing this kind of thing on my Twitch stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love any of your critiques, criticism, hate. Tear me apart. That's what I'm here for.